Alright, and we are recording. Wow, what a title screen. Okay, greetings and welcome everybody, and welcome to the brand new Let's Play. This is the first major Let's Play I'm doing for this, I guess, new season of Screensaver Studios. Hopefully everything's working okay. I'm on a completely new setup. I've been doing a little bit of like random stuff before this, just try to get myself back in the game and all that jazz, so you'll see that coming up. But yeah, we're back! Great. So we're going to start off with a new game here, and as you can see, well, not from this title screen, but certainly from the title above the video here, or below the video, or to the left of the video, wherever YouTube's putting their titles these days, I don't know. Things have changed a lot. Hey, little blood droplets going down there off the creepy skull things. That's kind of cool. Okay, so this is a Frogwares game. Why am I playing another Frogwares game? Fuck if I know. Let's just get started here. I'll explain as we go. Yes. Oh, you're prompt. Alright. You can definitely tell this is Frogwares, though, just looking at this. Yeah, there's that good old Frogwares graphics. Oh, God. From what I can tell, this game was made sometime after Nemesis, but either shortly before or shortly after Jack the Ripper.
Which can be fatal to them. There are very few ways in which to conquer a vampire. However,
I don't
legends
know.
and reference books about these creatures of the night, as well as my own experiments, have affirmed the following.
I need to shave better.
Vampires detest the smell of garlic. This preventative measure, used in a good number of regions subject to the depredation of these creatures, is omnipresent in the folklore of these aforementioned regions. Second,
Well, I don't know.
Vampires cannot endure the fact that they cannot see their reflection in a mirror. This optical effect, which I feel confident I can witness, strikes them like a club with the vacuity and aberrance of their existence.
Well, I don't know about...
Some storytellers mention an irrational fear of running water, as well as a specific vulnerability to silver bullets.
That's werewolves.
I have not been able to test and validate these theses. In fact, during the half a lifetime that I have dedicated to the research and annihilation of these creatures, I have only had as true recourse 3 weapons which have proven decisive.
Who are you again?
The crucifix foremost. Brandished with conviction, it fights off these creatures and prevents for a moment all attacks from them.
So does fingers work?
Next, holy water. It serves to inflict wounds on the creature because it burns its flesh like acid.
What about kosher salt?
Lastly, a wooden stake is the final instrument of destruction.
Debatable.
After having discovered the sanctuary of the enemy, one must profit from its damned slumber in order to strike with the greatest force into the beating heart of...
Whatever it was I was about to say.
It's Maria, your lodger. Professor, there's a letter here. Can you hear
Damn it, Maria! Don't stop me when I'm monologuing!
Slide it under the door.
Can I get you anything, Professor? Something to eat, perhaps?
What? No. No, thank you, Maria.
But, Professor, it's been 4 days now that you haven't been outside, is it?
Damn it, how do I solve a problem like you,
I'm
Maria?
trying to work. Leave me in peace.
Jay Hawken. Why is that skeleton wearing a top hat? I mean, I like it, but... Oh, it's in the mail today. Natural mail enhancement, shaft enlarger...
My friend, how can I allow you to leave? And what will become of you? I should have been in your place in this cursed castle, and being destroyed by the one whom I have chased for years. You've had Mina, poor thing. What grief I will cause when I shall tell her the news. There isn't a moment to lose. We must inform Mina. She is in grave danger.
Professor Shatner, who are you talking to? Are we just doing that thing again? Okay, here we go. Yep, Frogwares dialogue time. Dear Professor, it's a strange manner in which I commence a letter. Any letter, really. Just kind of weird. I write with my butt cheeks. I don't know how I do it. But I hope you shall receive... You shall never... But I hope that you shall never have to read these words. Well, then why are you sending them to me? For if that is the case, then it is because a grievous destiny. Not because of a grievous, just a grievous destiny. Worse even than death, perhaps. has put an end to my existence. Know that the time in which I write these lines, I find myself at the very heart of evil, in one room of Dracula's castle. Sort of a left off the main hall there. This missive will take many weeks to reach you, and more time than my return trip to London, which I will make if I am able to carry out my terrible task. This letter would thus have no relevance. So why did you write it? Hence, if you are reading this, pray for my soul. Finding the beast's lair was no simple task. The Count's subordinates are everywhere east of Vienna, and they maintain a veil of secrecy and terror regarding the existence of our enemy. With force, persuasion, threats, and silver pieces, I thought silver didn't work. I managed to find an appropriate location in the court's grounds. Yeah, my reading skills have not improved in the long absence. So you gotta bear with me on this one. During my trip in this accursed place, chance placed a young scholar whose team has been attacked by bandits, it's still kind of difficult to read the words, in my path. During my trip to this accursed place, chance placed a young scholar whose team has been attacked by bandits in my path. Man, nobody can quite write the flow of a narrative like Frogwares, can they? Grave wounds have forced him to take rest at an inn before he could resume his journey to Count Dracula's dwelling, where he was supposed to take inventory of the library. I appreciate the young man's letter of introduction. I appropriated the young man's letter of introduction and extracted him from the necessary pieces of information to get the castle. I arrived on the night of the second day and at an immense fortress seeping with death and corruption, where the origin of evil that we fought is found. My first meeting with the Count left me a memory that will haunt me to the end of my days. How to imagine such nobility, charm, and benevolence in the behaviors of a man who only by his icy, demented look betrays his true nature. What the fuck? How to imagine such nobility, charm, and benevolence in the behaviors of a man who only by his icy, demented look betrays his true nature? What are you trying to say? I was just as subjugated by his elegance and his intelligence. I don't know if I'm reading this correctly. Upon my nocturnal arrival... I'm sorry, I know this is the 18th century, but who the fuck writes like this? This is like... Oh my god, it's like I'm reading a bad fanfic. Oh my god, I am reading a bad fanfiction. Son of a bitch. Just realized it's Frogwares fanfiction, the games. Upon my nocturnal arrival, we discussed at length my alleged library experience. He immediately noted my accent and asked questions that were both precise and direct. I was the mouse attempting to answer to the cat, and despite myself, I gave away my identity as well as my London heritage. He seemed to read into each of my answers, and it was the devil of a task to mutter an explanation of my presence here as a delegate from a large Venetian library. He then interrogated me regarding London and England and seemed genuinely impassioned to hear about my life in our capital. I then had the misfortune of mentioning Mina, my dear betrothed. Wait a minute, what the fuck? It was Renfield who went there. John Harker was still a... Letter from J. Harker. Jonathan Harker never went to Transylvania, except maybe at the end. I think... I then had the misfortune of mentioning Mina, my dear betrothed, while recalling an afternoon spent boating. Why? The Count pressed me into an almost impertinent manner to show me a photograph of her. I complied and was then struck with infinite terror by the Count's rapacious and carnivorous gaze as he examined the face of my loved one grasped between his hands. Why would you do that? I feigned a very believable fatigue and isolated myself in my quarters. Sleep did not find me that night, nor any of the following nights. Terrifying abnormal noises mixed with the howling of wolves that swarmed the region. The Count has been absent for 3 days, but this abominable servant assures me that he is to return tonight. I will wait no longer to spring into action. The immense place oppresses me, and it seems that the shadows themselves are alive, observing me and tormenting me with their laughter. I miss Mina so much that I wouldn't give to be by her side. I don't dare write her. She wouldn't understand the dangers my mission involves. Assure Mina once again of my complete devotion to her, and if you receive this letter, ensure that she knows my last thoughts were of her. Your student and friend, Jonathan Harker. This is not fucking right at all. Here we go again. News and Times. Domestic drama. A sad and bloody business took place yesterday on the first floor of a small residential building located next to the New Kent it's the New Kent Road Station. Never heard of that place before. From the interviews of the neighbors, young Garrett Melford first killed his young wife Magadale in a fit of jealousy before dying himself. The young married couple had moved in only 2 months ago, and Mr. Melford was employed as a foreman of Grimble and Bonsby Cement Works. Various testimony confirms that early in the evening, in the absence of their husband, Miss Melford admitted an elegant man dressed in black into their flat. Shortly thereafter, Mr. Melford returned to the domicile after a long day of work. As soon as he entered the flat, and an eerie and console blackbird flew out of one of the windows in the direction of the National Gallery. A cry would be heard, as well as the sounds of a struggle and finally a gunshot. After an alarming silence, some of the neighbors entered the flat, only to find Miss Melford stretched out lifelessly on the bed with a bleeding wound to her neck. Mr. Melford was still sitting in a chair, his skull agape and a still-smoking pistol at his feet. A small crowd gathered at the place, which most certainly allowed the third player in this drama opportunity to abscond. Upon the arrival of the police, they concluded that it was a murder of passion followed by a suicide, even though the exact unfolding of the events, as well as the identity of the lady's nocturnal visitor, are still unknown. Note, these testimonials taken at the crime scene are very troubling, particularly as regard to the eerie black console bird. See last Tuesday's edition for our report on an equally unnerving event. Saddle up, folks. We are in for the long haul on this one.